It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. We're starting a whole new road trip. We're still in Utah, but we're on our way to Wyoming right now. We have made it, after 5 hours of driving, to the Wyoming Frontier Prison. Actually managed to make it here early, despite driving relatively slow because we were going to get here early. They don't really let you take videos on the tour, so please enjoy these photos. So a lot of time has passed since the last video clip. We are now at Cunningham Falls in Maryland. So here it is. It's not the falls, it's a state park, or a beach with a lake. We've been driving a lot, I'm sorry. And it's reasonably pretty, and we didn't think we were going to come here, and we drove past it, and we were like, why not stop? So it's a little state park. The government's also shut down, so this is gonna put a damper on some of our plans. I didn't expect to be on the beach today, though.
Well, how much for it? Is it 5?
Something tells me it's artificial, but I'll take it. The water is very pleasant, so that's cool. It's like 70 degrees. Very nice. I'm gonna walk out super far, see how far I can make it. To waist deep. Kind of made it further than I thought I would, honestly. Hi, Mom. We're hiking to the Cunningham Falls. What's the confidence level? Her feet hurt because she has a corn and she's ill prepared. We'll see if we make it, boys. This is potentially the most underwhelming waterfall I've ever seen in my life. There it is. Ourselves a caterpillar. Look at him go. Look at him go.
Oh my God, look at
39 minutes later. What do you have to say?
I did it.
Yeah, what was your review of the hike overall?
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, but did you like the viewpoint at the end, or were you a little disappointed?
That reminded me of the one in that place that we went to. With the falls, and it was like a little trickle of water.
Oh gosh.
I forgot the name of that. But that's what it
Tennessee,
reminds me of, in Tennessee, yeah.
Ruby Falls.
Ruby Falls, yeah.
Yep. So that was to say she's a little disappointed.
No,
but it's okay.
It was fun.
It was a nice walk.
Yeah.
We had a great time. Rode down the road to the Katoshin. No idea if I said that right. Mountain Park. Doesn't actually specify if it's a historic area or what, but we're here. The visitor center, obviously, because the government shutdown is closed. We're gonna try to string together something resembling a cool hike, and we'll get back to you. A little driving tour, and we found this little caboose outside of the park. We just got out of it, back that way. So going back in, and we're gonna go for a hike. To present company, we're gonna do a ton of cool scenic vistas, but we're gonna do all of them as little out and backs rather than making a big loop, so we get to go see everything rather than just a few things. So our first stop is the Blue Ridge Summit. I hope you enjoy. Got ourselves a certified overlook, the Blue Ridge Overlook. Pretty good view. And then there's a cool rocky outcrop behind us, which you can't really see, but I'll grab another video. Okay, we made it back to the car. I dropped my mom off, and now we're gonna do the Hog Rock Nature Trail. So that'll be fun. Did it. Just a few minutes later, and we've made it to the ever elusive Hog Rock. I've heard the pioneers used to search for centuries to find this guy. And there he is, in the flesh. Reasonable view. Last one was a little bit better, so glad my mom sat this one out instead of that one, because she definitely got the long end of the stick instead of the short end. So I'm gonna head back now, and we'll pick you up at the next hike, the Thermont Vista. A 1 mile round trip guy. This one is allegedly rated moderate, so we'll see what challenges are in store for us. Again, just me on this one, but should be a little 15-20 minute round trip. out of Thermont. Almost the same view from the last trail, but a little different. A little up close look. Gets real flat from here on out. Guess this is where the Appalachians end. And we'll see you back at the car. Our last little hike in this park, we're going to the Blue Blazes Trail, which is the whiskey trail to an old Prohibition era distillery. And honestly, I'm very excited for this one. Turns out you can tell if water is good based on insects. How neat. Also, we learned, well, not learned, realized that maybe the waterfall and everything isn't going so well because it's like the dry season here now. So that might be why the waterfall was kind of mediocre. A bit of information learned about this here. They had 18 500-gallon barrels. So they had the capacity to have up to 9,000 gallons of whiskey. They thought it was just going to be some little family still, but it was a huge commercial operation. And this was during Prohibition time, so it was a crazy bust whenever they got here. And this is the still itself. Looks like the wooden barrels are all gone. That kind of adds up because they're about 100 years old now, but this is where you got your bootleg hooch. We are entering Pennsylvania. Let's go, boys. And their speed limit is faster, which I'm thankful for. I arrived at the Eisenhower House. I have no idea if it's open. I don't really actually know what it is. I mean, obviously it's probably an Eisenhower house, but we're gonna beeline it straight up to the house and see if maybe we could get a tour if they're open or not. It's squishy, and it's amazing. It's like walking on marshmallows. Also a windmill. Thank you, Democratic Party, for ruining my trip. Well, this is the Eisenhower house, home of the Eisenhowers. I'll get you a better view. Hang on. Yeah, it's really pretty here, actually, so that's cool. We got this whole scenic vista. We're gonna walk around, read all the signs, tell you all about them, and it's a great way to stay in shape. Begin. Eisenhower was the first president to take a helicopter, and they landed it right there. When I say take a helicopter, he was the first president that ever rode in a helicopter. They came up with an evacuation plan that involved helicopters, so that was just his old Citgo pumps floating around. Those are the second and third ones that we've seen. Curious what they are. His old car.
It's a limousine.
That's pretty cool. Too bad the garage doors aren't open because that would be sick.
All right, let's see.
What's in the next one? He's got his Buick Sport Wagon. Ba-ba-da-da.
Oh, this one's in really good shape.
Kind of hard to see, but you get the idea. And that's what's in the next one. He's like me. He's got lots of cars. This is a little Crosley Runabout. Those are cool. A little garden and a greenhouse. How neat. Living the dream out here. I'm gonna move to Maryland and build Pennsylvania and build a giant compound with a farm. Also, it's funny to have a garden and a greenhouse whenever it's a farm. I call this farm number 2, which is the park headquarters. It was also part of Eisenhower's property. It's very scenery, as someone would say. They had 100 cows. A whole 100. That's one heck of a herd. They had to keep building buildings as they bought more cows. That other Citgo pump. Go figure. Contains lead. That's the good stuff. Apparently Eisenhower was super good at farming, so he knew to do crop rotation and had good strategies with plowing to help reduce erosion. And apparently this became one of the most productive farms in the area. The silo's looking a little sad. One absolute unit of a bull, and they were very careful with how they bred him, so that way they could make sure that they had the best possible cows with the best possible attributes. Guy seemed like he was on top of his stuff. I don't know what the standards were in the 1950s, but sounds about right. In front of the show barn, which is where he brought dignitaries from all the countries, like the president of France and Mexico and Winston Churchill, just to show him his cattle and all of his ribbons that he won. Dwight Eisenhower seems like a funny guy. Up in the distance you can see the mountains that we were on earlier. Two little babies. old-fashioned, non-rifled canyons here. Very exciting stuff. They look original. Pretty cool. So, the battle started by where that eternal flame that we just were was, and then the Union troops got pushed back to Cemetery Hill over there, right there. It used to not have trees on it, and they, in the middle of the night, Robert E. Lee was like, "That's where they are. We're gonna go get them," and that's all we know so far. Find out more on the next stop. You live from Seminary Hill over there behind us. That's Cemetery Hill, about a mile away. So Seminary Hill, which is where we are, is where the Confederates then staged their troops before going into battle against those filthy Yankees. I like the Yankees more. Don't tell anybody. When they arrived here, they came across 10,000 Union soldiers thinking that they were going through open ground to get over to Cemetery Hill. So it might not have gone so well for them. They confronted them at the Peach Orchard, which is a couple stops from here. There's another little lookout tower. This one's maybe a little less little. That's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stories tall? I don't know, it's gonna be spicy. Let's see how fast we can get up it. Across the valley here, you'll see little and big round tops. These were Union encampments where they had heavy fortifications. And where we are standing, over here, is where the Alabama Corps was staging for their attack against the Union. And they had marched 20 miles through the night to get here. They were all tired. None of them had had food or water. And they rounded up 20 men to gather everyone's canteens to fill them up before they went into battle. And moments later, they were all ordered into battle. So not only did they not have any water, but they no longer had the ability to carry any water if they found any on the battlefield. It was rough for them. We're here on the summit of Little Round Top now. And over on the opposite side of the valley is where we just were, where the Confederates launched their attack. Funny enough, the Union actually kind of abandoned this because they didn't like the positioning, and then they found out that the charge was happening. They all scrambled to get back to the top, and they only made it 5 minutes before the Confederates did, to ward off their assault. Halfway through the auto tour, it's getting dark and we have a couple things that we need to do. So we're gonna pause on this, and I'll probably do the video out of sequence for you so it all just adds up. But we're gonna pause on this, and then we're gonna come back to Gettysburg in a few days to finish off our audio tour. So see you then. I'm going to try to pick up where we left off. This is the wheat field. It's just below Little Round Top. And this is where that man, I cannot remember his name, and I'm sorry for that, Mr. Guy. His name was General Captain something Longstreet, and they came down from Little Round Top because he didn't like that position, and he had 1,700 men under his control to defend this area that they call the wheat field when the Confederates showed up. By the time that they had fallen back from this area, over 2,000 people died during that little portion of the battle. We decided to take a little walk through the wheat field. I believe it's something like 1,300 monuments are placed throughout, which is a whole hell of a lot if you ask me. This is the Peach Orchard, which is kind of an extension of the wheat field. So the Union line stretched across here, but it was extremely vulnerable rather than being up on top of the hill. So when the Confederates attacked, they had a bit of a rough time. Now, they left us on a cliffhanger in our little audio tour, and said, we'll find out next what happens. But I'm pretty sure that the Union gets pushed back. This barn was a little Union position, and the Confederates were coming off from the left up the knoll. But more importantly, if you look here at the hole, that was an unexploded shell. This is the Throstle House. And both of these actually say that they're private residences, but I'm wondering if that's for the Park Service. It's the Pennsylvania Monument. One of the only monuments that has all of the soldiers that fought for Pennsylvania in it. What happened next in the battle, though, was the Union slowly got pushed back to our current location on Cemetery Hill, and they managed to hold that through the night and hold off the Confederates, but they did lose a little bit of ground. Hi, Mom! So this is actually Culp's Hill, and I would go up there and take a picture for you, but it's locked, which is kind of sad. We've got some nice monuments. We've got a lady being a tourist, taking her pictures. I would never take pictures or videos anywhere I go. You guys know that. This is East Cemetery Hill. So the battlefield was kind of a hook shape, and this was the tip of the hook, and little round top was the eye of the hook, and everything else was kind of the shaft and the start of the curve and stuff. So they almost lost this hill once, but they managed to hang on to it, which is great for the Union winning, which, spoiler alert, does happen. So here, we're at the top of Cemetery Ridge, overlooking Seminary Ridge, and this is where the final battle of Gettysburg happened, Pickett's Charge. There were 12,000 Confederates over on Seminary Ridge, and they all went, okay, let's go for a jog. And so they tried to jog over here, but those mean old Union guys who wanted to hold them back started shooting at them. And over half of them were casualties. They eventually broke through the line with a couple hundred people, but then they had to surrender because no one else was coming to help them. And this is the moment where Robert E. Lee went, all right, yep, this is a lost cause, so we are gonna head out. And on the 4th of July, they marched out of Pennsylvania, which was the day after the 3rd day of the battle. Here is the Gettysburg National Cemetery. And the graves are all in a semicircle around this monument. And it was important that they were all on the same elevation, and none of them were in a better spot than anybody else, because the principles of all men being created equal. So this was our U.S. regulars.
That's really pretty.
Apparently there are about 7,000 Civil War veterans buried here. This is also where Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. Interestingly, this cemetery actually only contains people that fought for the North. There's no Confederate soldiers buried here, which I guess makes sense. We came to Gettysburg for the sightseeing, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint. They got as many guns as the average American has in their basement.
In the summer of 1863, the war seemed to hang in the balance. Vicksburg and Fort Weston pulled out. When Lee's party of Northern Virginia gained a decisive victory in West Virginia, writing to his father, he had picked this up. One soldier said, "No man, I think, would see me."
In the shape of a large fissure, curving from Culp's Hill through Cemetery Hill, then straight south along Cemetery Ridge to the north slope of a rocky point called Little Round Top.
So our next stop is the Jenny Wade House, but we got a good 20 minutes before there's a tour, and there just happens to be my favorite Italian ice place across the street. So you know what your boy's doing. Pumpkin cheesecake cream ice and a vanilla. Black cherry with the vanilla. Hell yeah. We couldn't take videos, so see some photos. We are now going to head to another Civil War. I think it's a Civil War. I actually don't know what type of battlefield it is. We're going to another battlefield. We'll see. Just kidding. That's probably in the next video because I'm breaking this into multiple parts, so it's not too long. It's going to be our Maryland video.